Hi, everybody. Welcome to Museum of Glass. Hi. Today we're going to have our resident team of glass blowers, our Museum of Glass Hot Shop team. They are super skilled. They can make just about anything you can imagine. Ben Cobb will be leading the team, the tall guy in a light blue shirt, Sarah Gilbert in the gray shirt, and Sayuri Fukuda in the dark blue shirt. So just to get you guys started, I'm going to give you just a brief introduction to how glass blowing works. It's pretty simple. Everything starts out in our glass furnaces. So where you see the square holes in the steel wall and the doors closed, those are the glass furnaces. There's two of them, one on each side of the studio. Behind those doors, there's a big ceramic tank. In that ceramic tank is 1,000 pounds of molten glass. If you look up on the big screen, you'll see a little diagram. We keep the molten glass at 2,100 degrees. At that temperature, the glass has the consistency of honey. So if you can imagine a giant crock pot full of honey, that's what our glass furnace is like. When we want to get it out to make stuff, we take one of those steel pipes, those are called blowpipes, and we dip it into the molten glass like you dip one of these into a jar of honey. We dip it in, twirl it around. A little bit of the molten glass sticks to the end of the pipe. The pipe itself is hollow, so when you blow, ball of glass blows up like a balloon. If you want to make something larger, you dip it in, blow a little bubble, let it harden, and then you dip it in a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time, and you just keep building up the glass in layers. All the glass that's in our furnaces is clear. It has no color. We buy colored glass separately in the form of these bars. We buy it like an artist buys paint, red, yellow, pink, blue. We blow a bubble of clear glass from our furnace. We heat up a chunk of orange, and then we melt a layer of orange glass over the clear glass. We will then dip that in more clear glass, and so that's what Sarah's doing over there right now. She's dropping on a little wad of colored glass, and she's going to heat that up again and smush it back till it entirely coats the first bubble. So what you're going to end up with is something that looks colored, but if you cut through it, you would see that it's just that one skinny layer of color. But for all intents and purposes, when the things are blown out, they look like they're made from colored glass. In a big factory, where you're going to make 1,000 things all the same color, then you just melt a tank of colored glass and dip into it. But here, we're a bunch of artsy-fartsies, and we want to make a red thing, then a purple thing, then a blue thing. So we color each piece individually by melting on a layer of colored glass. Looks like it's colored. If you cut through it, you would see it's just that one skinny layer. Does anybody have any questions so far? What? In bar, yeah. Okay, we warm it up in that oven over there, the silver one with the curved side. And then we pick it up on one of the steel pipes, and then we stick it in the glory holes, the round ovens, and heat it till it's hot and goopy, and then just drop a blob on. What? Skill. Do you guys have any questions? So we have two different kinds of furnaces. There's the glass furnaces. Those are the ones with the doors closed. Those have the tanks of glass in them. Those run at 2100 degrees Fahrenheit, 6 times what it takes to cook a turkey. And then the glory holes are 2300. The glory holes are the round guys, and those run a little bit hotter, 2300 degrees. So So she works at a water-cooled machine, so there's constant water spraying at her, and so by buttoning it up like that, the water drips down uh, the center instead of dripping down her boots. So each time we dip the glass into our big pot of molten glass, we got to round it out, make it nice and even. Sarah will give it a little puff. Yes. She's spraying water. There's bubbles on the surface of the glass. Sometimes we can pop them by spraying in cold water. Does the bubbles make the glass more valuable? No. Um, the, I mean, if you want really clear glass, you have to cook it for a long time so all the bubbles rise to the surface and pop. Some people care about that more than others, but you can have modern glass that has bubbles in it, just like antique glass. Yeah. So in the center, Ben is going to round out that ball of glass. So that's hollow. It's quite thick. The tool in his hand is called the block, B-L-O-C-K. It's made out of wood. It's stored in a bucket of water. As long as the wood itself is wet, the tool doesn't burn, nor does it leave any marks as he shapes the glass. Now the tool looks like a scoop, but we don't scoop up any water in it. We use an empty. We just want the wood itself to be damp. Every once in a while, the steel pipes get hot. When they do, we take them over there. That's called our pipe cooler. A little T-shaped trough. We just lay the steel pipe in the trough, spray water on it. That cools it down, makes it easier to hold. You guys have any questions? Now we have all the glass we need. We're going to blow it up a little bit. Sarah is crouched down to the left of the workbench. She's the one that's going to be blowing. She'll blow through the steel pipe and inflate it while Ben, sitting at the bench, shapes it. So Sarah's blowing. Ben has a gray pad in his hand. That gray pad is just folded up newspaper soaked in water. Plain everyday newspaper. Newspaper. Wet newspaper. It's a Sunday. Score it? No, I don't think so. Not that I know of. Yeah, he might have been measuring it. Those are called calipers, and he's going to roll a stripe pattern around it. So the length of the stripe pattern has to be the circumference of the tube, the bubble. That's what he's using to shape the glass. It's just wet newspaper. So we're going to put a stripe pattern on this. So we have rods of colored glass called cane. And we're going to roll them onto the surface of the bubble. So we're going to melt those rods in, and they're going to make stripes. So the color of those stripes is this color right here, this green. They look kind of yellow, but what you're seeing is the color is distorted by the heat. So the background is a kind of aqua blue, and the stripes are green. So now Ben is taking those shears and snipping through the stripes. So he's going to make a kind of pattern where the stripes kind of loop around in opposite directions. Has anybody got any questions? You guys have any questions? Guys? So Ben is squeezing the glass. The tool in his hand is called the jacks, and squeezing it and making that notch is called jacking it down. What he's doing is making that notch so that he has a place where he can break the glass away from the metal pipe. So The tool is called the jacks, and making the notch is called jacking it down. When he swings the glass like that, he's trying to elongate the bubble. The bubble is hot and soft. When you spin it, it stretches out. Yes, sir. Well, not here. We buy glass in little chunks, throw it in our furnace, melt it, and we have a big tank of molten glass, and that's where we start. But glass is made of sand. But we buy the glass already cooked up in little chunks. That's the glass. That's called cullet. We get it, 50-pound bags of these, and then we shovel them into our furnace and cook them overnight. He's making a vase. You guys have any questions? Good. You have any questions? What? No. No, no, we have a little try-it session, but not real classes. Yeah, we have those. But it's not really a class, it's just kind of try it type of thing. We'll be doing one next week. Next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. What? Oh, this is exactly what you saw in Venice. Oh, that part maybe. Um, no, but the last one fell off here. Last flooring fell off here in the 1940s and 1950s because of automation. Starting in 1979, a number of Venetian masters came to the United States and began teaching the young Americans. And so the style of glass blowing that you see here is straight out of Venice. We learned from Venetian masters. No, he learned in Wisconsin. He learned what? Yeah, you know, he learned at the University of Wisconsin Madison. Oh, okay. He never taught there. He taught at RISD, at Rhode Island School of Design. big tank where we melted is all clear, so we can't throw little bits of red and purple and blue in there because that would muck it up. No, those aren't cooled properly, so those things can explode. So we can sweep up the clear glass and throw it back. Yeah, we collect it all and then we wash it. And we add like maybe a quarter old glass to 3/4 new glass. Yes, it will probably burn. Probably smell good. You mean like ingredients? Oh, orange. Yeah. It's really funny. They floats on top because the glass is very viscous, and you think it would just like burn up. It doesn't. It turns into this big black ball, and you wait for the thing to burn and burn and burn. It doesn't go away, and you take a metal rod and you poke it, and the whole thing just because it's all air, but it's held together by static electricity or something. So it's just this big ball of ash that looks like an orange. You tap it. Oh yeah, throw batteries. That was, yeah, but yeah, kind of fun. Once you get the batteries color, like the green fire comes it out, fire. Yeah, most of that though is pyrokinesis. Just part of that. You're not far off base. All sorts of things. Some of it goes to the shop. There's a lot of things hanging around our back room. Back room, chock full of glass. Soon we're gonna have a fire truck. Yes, sir. Who are these people? These are our resident team of glassblowers. They work for the museum. They're employees. Van Cobb, tall guy in the bright blue shirt. Sarah Gilbert, the gray shirt. Sayuri Fukuda in the dark blue shirt. And Kristen Elliott in the purple apron. Not exactly turns. This is work. But any one of these guys, they're all super capable glass blowers. Any one of them could lead the team and make it. Some of them are better at certain things than others. Um, but we just do whatever needs to get the job done. It's not like a fun take turns thing. No, right now we're just trying out a new decoration that we haven't done before by putting the cane on and snipping it with scissors. So sort of prototyping. Anybody got any questions? What? Oh, all different people. This one is Ben's, the guy in the blue shirt. Don't need him. This is called the garage. So we're almost done. You can see on the far right, Sayuri putting on some protective clothing. She's going to carry the finished vase to our annealing oven. We keep the annealing oven at 920 degrees. We place all the objects we make during the day in there, and at night we cool everything down all at once. If we just made it and put it on the table, walked away, it would cool too quickly and unevenly, and it would shatter. So Sayuri has put on some Kevlar gloves. Kevlar is a fire-resistant insulating material. It's also used for bulletproof vests. So when she grabs that vase, it'll be 1,000 degrees. At that temperature, the glass will be hard, and she'll carry it to the annealing oven. We'll melt a little spot on the bottom to make sure it's not sharp, and into the annealing oven to cool. So let's have a hand for the Museum of Glass Hot Shop team: Ben Cobb, Sarah Gilbert, Sayuri Fukuda, and Kristen Elliott. When we're making the kids things, we often use this. It's called frit. So we just take some clear glass out of our furnace, we roll it in little chips of colored glass, melt it on, then we can make a green ear or whatever we want. So it's just crushed up colored glass. You guys have any questions? Okay. So if you watch Sarah now, Sarah's rolling that glass on the steel table. She's going to make it into a little cylinder shape, and then she's going to blow some air into that tube, close it up with her thumb, and the heat from the glass itself will expand the air and blow out the first bubble. So you watch her just give it one little puff. Here she goes. Little puff. Holds her thumb over the end and keep your eye on the glass. And magically, a little bubble pops out the end. That's called capping. And that's how we start almost every hollow object that we make. So over in the center, Sayuri is heating up the colored glass. And we're going to melt a layer of that colored glass over Sarah's bubble. Sarah's going to shape that up and hand it back to Sayuri. So this is how we get our colored glass. We get it in these bars. And we melt a little layer of colored glass over the clear glass and then dip it in more clear glass. So you end up with something that looks colored, but if you cut through it, yeah, well, it's just one little skinny layer to make it look colored. Oh, well, this diamond pattern is from a mold called a pineapple mold. So to get that pattern, we blow it into this mold. It doesn't give us the final shape, but it impresses the diamond pattern into the surface. Oh, those are cane. Could we put up cane pick up on a bubble? So we draw out little rods of colored glass like this. Is he up there? Maybe not. And we melt them onto a bubble, and each one of these will be a stripe. So we're starting the next vase. The woman working the glass right now is Sarah Gilbert. She's one of our resident team of glass blowers here at the museum. She's a very talented engraver. Could we put up some of Sarah's work up on the big screen? Sarah does a lot of work in what we call cameo glass, where we melt together different layers of colored glass, and then she carves through the multiple layers to make a design. Sarah was recently exhibited in a very prestigious show at the Abeltoft Museum in Denmark of the young and upcoming glass artists in the world. Every once in a while, the steel pipes get hot. When they do, we take them over here. We just spray water on the metal pipe. Looks good to me. I don't see any mess. So we're going to let that bubble cool a bit. Yeah, okay. Good. Math? What kind of math are you doing in school? Algebra? Okay. So Ben, in the bright blue shirt, Ben Cobb, the head of our glass shop, is shaping up that big bubble of glass. The tool in his hand is called the block, B-L-O-C-K. It's made out of wood, stored in a bucket of water. As long as the wood itself is wet, the tool doesn't burn too much, and it doesn't leave any marks as he shapes the glass. Those are canes, and we melt them into other pieces of glass to make stripes. So this is going to be a stripe bubble. Can we put up the cane pickup drawing? There we go. So we're gonna. Oh, cane pickup on a bubble. Sorry, I didn't say. Not the collar. That was my fault. There we go. So we're going to take the rods, we're going to blow a bubble, and we're going to roll the rods onto the bubble and to make stripes. So these are called cane, and that's a cane pickup. Yeah, they're going to be on this, for this project, they're going to be on a grooved metal plate. They'll be spaced out. Yep. Sure. One trade. You get one trade. Pretty much the same that you made last time. What? Oh. So Sarah in the center is heating up our cane, our rods of colored glass that we're going to use for stripes. Ben has the bubble that we're going to make. And here we go. This is the make money move. The contrasting colored rods will adhere to the surface. We'll heat them up and melt them in, and they'll be stripes. Over on the left, Sarah is filling up our furnace with glass. We buy our glass in little chunks called cullet. We shovel it in 100 pounds at a time. Then we let it melt a little while. Then we shovel in another 100 pounds. Bottle is made to harden very quickly, so a machine can make 1,000 bottles an hour. Our glass is formulated to harden slowly, so it can be shaped by hand.
So what's the difference in the formulation?
It's the proportions. Theirs has more sand and less soda. Ours has more soda and less sand. So Ben wants this kind of loopy design. So he's going to heat it up, make the glass soft, and then he's going to take a pair of shears and he's going to snip those lines. Here he goes. Snip. Snip. And wherever he does that, the lines will come together and make like a little loop, sort of. Just rods of colored glass. So, Sayuri is blowing as Ben shakes. Sayuri's blown a little bit as Ben cuts off that little knob at the end. Can we play the pony? Oh, whoop. We're going to have to wait a little bit. That white logo tells me the guy stepped out, but we'll play it in a few minutes. I don't know. Well, there's thousands of recipes for glass. There's thousands of recipes for glass. Um, there's no grades of glass like grade A, grade B, grade C. It depends how it suits the needs, what you're looking at. I mean, this glass is made for hand blowing. Other glasses are made for making machine-made things. Oh, there's a lot of trace ingredients. Those are the three main ones. Sometimes they put in manganese, alumina, arsenic, potassium, but those are put in small amounts to adjust the properties. But the big three are sand, soda ash, and lime. So we're going to flatten the bottom. So the part of the vase that sits on the table is the part sticking out. The part where you put the flowers in is the part that's stuck to the metal pipe right now. The next thing we're going to do is transfer the glass from the rod it was originally blown on to a second steel rod called the punty. Sarah, in the gray shirt, is preparing the punty. She's going to coat the end of that steel rod with a little bit of molten glass. That'll make it sticky. and we'll use that as a temporary handle to hold the vase from the bottom while we shape the top. So here comes Sarah with the punty. Hot glass sticks to hot glass. We'll stick that on the bottom. When we're ready to break the glass away from the original pipe, Ben in the blue shirt will dip those tweezers in water, drip a little water where he wants the glass to break, and then a light tap and off it'll come. So here he goes. Drips water onto the little notch there, little tap, and off it comes. Do you guys have any questions in the back? Tank where we melted. Thanks for coming in, guys. This is how we get our glass. You can hold it. We took a piece of clear glass and a rod of white glass. We melted them together and then we twisted them. Red and white glass. We're getting close to being done. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. Um, well, we made a bunch that are similar, so I don't know what you're referring to. But we've been making a bunch of these all day. Okay. Well, we're about to do that again. We take, we have a, we look straight ahead, that's our glass furnace. Behind that door, there's a big tank with 1,000 pounds of molten glass in it. We take a steel pipe, we dip it into the molten glass. What? Yep, straight ahead. We dip it in, a little ball of glass sticks to the end, blows up like a balloon. So we're getting ready to take the finished vase off the metal rod. Everything that we make like this has to be cooled slowly. So we'll drip some water on the joint between the vase and the metal rod. That'll crack that joint. Sayuri in the green jacket has some fireproof gloves. And she'll carry the vase to our annealing oven where it'll be cooled slowly overnight. Each day we heat up that big black oven to 920 degrees. We place all the objects we make during the day in there, and then at night we cool everything down all at once. That has a little computerized thermostat, so it automatically slowly turns it down overnight. The thicker and more complicated an object is, the longer we take to cool it. We blow a bubble of clear glass from our furnace, we cut up a chunk of colored glass, then we melt a layer of colored glass over our food. About to do that right here. So we're getting ready to start the next vase. Sayuri, in the dark blue shirt to the left, is heating up a chunk of colored glass. She's going to get that hot and gooey, and then Sarah's going to blow a bubble of clear glass. Thank you. Oh yeah. We can make dragons and okay. Mhm. Yep. Nope. I don't have any of my stuff here. Mhm. I'm doing it for 40 years. You should. You know, here in Tacoma we have there's a program at Jason Lee Middle School. When you get into middle school, you can start to learn glasswork. Take care. So Sarah is starting the next bubble. So she's dipped the pipe in clear molten glass. The orange color that you're seeing is the glow from the heat. Oh, she didn't like that. I'm going to do it again. So Sarah takes the steel pipe, the blowpipe, and dips it into the molten glass. Behind that door is a big ceramic tank with 1,000 pounds of molten glass in it. The glass in the tank is pretty much like honey. It's like dipping into a big jar of honey. Nope, all the time. So Sarah's going to roll that glass into a little cylindrical shape, and then she's going to give it one little tiny puff of air, close it up with her thumb, and the heat from the glass will expand the air and blow the first bubble. So watch her now, one little puff, close it up. If you keep your eye on the glass, you'll see magically a little bubble pops out the other end. So that's how we start every hollow object that we make. The next thing we're going to do is coat that with colored glass. Sayuri, in the dark blue shirt, is heating up a chunk of the colored glass. On the left, on your right, sorry. Sarah's starting the bubble for our next phase. You can blow it up a little, straighten it out, let it cool a bit, stiffen, and then we're going to dip it in more clear glass and add another layer. Every once in a while, steel pipes get hot. When they do, we take them over there, lay them in that trough. It's called the pipe cooler. We just spray water on the metal pipe. That cools it down, makes it easier to hold. Each time we dip into our big tank of molten glass, only a certain amount sticks, so we have to build it up in layers. So we blow a bubble, let it harden, dip it in again, shape that up, let it harden, dip it in again, until we have all the glass we need to make whatever object we're making. Over on the left, Sarah's just placed our troughs of glass by the furnace. We're going to shovel that into the furnace and cook it overnight, and then that glass will be ready to use. A vase.
A vase? Oh, that's cool. How long does it take to usually make the vase?
It's going to be about a half hour.
Oh, that's a quick vase. Is it like a pretty big one?
Nope.
A little tiny one? What was your name?
Walter.
Walter, nice to meet you. I'm Golden.
Here in Tacoma, there's a glass program in the middle school and the high school. Okay. We can't give you those. Those are already spoken. You know, write me a poem about glass? When the glass comes fresh out of the furnace, it's 2100 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. You guys got to write a poem about glass.
Okay. Oh, I already know one right now.
Okay. So you're done. Wow, you're the world's fastest writer. Glass, thin film. Glass is beautiful, and more. I love glass. And what's that word?
That's supposed to be an H. I wrote it too fast.
Okay. I love glass.
I'm trying to
I
write it
glass is beautiful, and I
and,
heart
and hard.
and hard. Oh, I see. And hard. I love glass. Okay. Good. So we're gonna melt those stripes. Have any piece of glass in that bowl. Are these guys a little young to have a?
I'm also very pretty.
Okay.
I wrote glass is very delicate
Fragile.
and fragile. Yeah, I know. How do you guys make these then?
You take different colored rods of glass and we heat them up till they're soft and twist them together. That's just nice and neat. You eat and drink.
I want to come here and try to make glass. Oh, here's your pen back.
Thank you.
What is it? Mommy, look at the one I got. Can I see? My mom's gonna love this.
Okay, cool.
She
Could I have
loves
a pen?
My mom has a lot of glass. What do you guys say? Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Are you are these you okay with them having it? Okay. So you got to answer questions. How first of all, how old are you? 4? You're 4 years old? Okay, my question for you is what is your favorite flavor ice cream? Vanilla. Okay, there you go.
Okay, we're gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold it, okay? No, you cannot eat it.
Are
It's glass.
you sure okay with her having one? Okay. Okay. You got to answer a question. How old are you?
Okay, hold on to it. Don't, you can't do that.
2? Okay.
Okay,
What's your favorite flavor ice cream?
what kind of ice cream you like, Jenna? Vanilla? Yeah. Okay. Hold on. You want purple, red, or blue? Purple? Grandma gotta get it. Which one? Purple or red? Purple? Okay, here, which one you want? Put it up there. Yeah, purple, okay.
So we're going to squeeze the glass and make a sharp notch in it. The tool that he's squeezing with is called the jacks, and squeezing the glass like that is called jacking it down. And that notch is going to be the place where you can break the glass away from the metal pipe. You guys have any questions? Good. So as he uses a torch, the torch allows us to focus the heat in a particular place. Okay. When we put in the big oven, it kind of heats up the whole oven. So if we just want this soft or this soft, use the torch to just make that part. So Sayuri in the blue shirt is blowing. So Sayuri is blowing over to the left and inflating the glass while Ben is heating it. So he's getting that part of the glass extra hot and soft, so that part will expand more as she blows because it'll be softer. Ben's letting that glass sag and stretch out under its own weight, make that form a little bit longer. It'll be the bottom of the vase, so only that part will be soft. When he presses in on it, it'll flatten it a little bit, and the rest of the thing won't crumple or. The next thing we're going to do is transfer this vase from the rod it was originally formed on to a second steel rod called the punty, P-U-N-T-Y. Sarah's preparing the punty. Sarah in the gray shirt on the right side of the studio. So we bring the punty, the second steel rod, attach it to the bottom of the vase. When they feel that that connection is firm, we'll break the glass away from the original pipe. Take those tweezers, dip them in water, drip a little water where we want the glass to break, and then a little tap, and off it comes. You guys have any questions? In a minute, we just got to trim some of that glass. Maybe, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not trying to sell you anything at the moment. I just want to see glass. Those are called colors. That's how we get our pop. All those things that look like little ice. Shovel it into the furnace, cook it overnight. Well, that morning we'll have molten glass. Well, we have to get all the bubbles out. Yeah. We cook it overnight, and the bubbles rise to the surface. Pop. Well, we don't. We buy colored glass, and we melt colored glass onto our. We can color anything we want. Furnace is the one that had contains the big tank of molten glass. Could we put up the furnace diagram? So the ones with the doors closed, behind those doors it looks like that big diagram on the big screen. So there's this big ceramic tank with 1,000 pounds of molten glass in it. The glory holes are the round guys with the doors open, and those have no glass in them. They're just a big hot chamber where we reheat and soften the glass as we're working. If you've ever seen anybody work at a forge, they're making swords or horseshoes, they take the steel and they put it into the fire. Yeah, that doesn't matter, that part. They put it into the fire, soften the steel, bang on it, soften it again. Same thing here. You put up a glory hole diagram? It's just a brick barrel with a gas burner in the side. So we're going to trim off a little bit of the thick glass at the very top. When glass is hot, you can cut it with a pair of shears. We can recycle the clear scraps. We don't have a good way of recycling the colored scraps. Yeah, it'd be all messed up. They have comes out of the furnace a big screen. They have motorized scissors. Snip it, drops onto a conveyor belt. pours out of the bottom of the furnace. The screen, like, snip it, wash out the conveyor belt, snip it, snip it, snip it. That's a different color. You guys have any questions? Yeah, a little bit, like you might if you work in a restaurant kitchen. We'll put on gloves if we're making something really big and hot. Stuff like this. Depends what you're making. It really depends. If we were making Christmas ornaments, we'd probably make 1,000 of them before we mess one up. If we were making dinosaur skeleton, we might be losing out on 5. Yeah, no, you can't handle disappointment. You shouldn't blow glass. You shouldn't play golf. So we're holding a wooden paddle across the top of the vase. Make sure it's flat. And now she's holding the wooden. Young ladies, would you like to win your glass to take home with you? Wait till you hear the deal. Say yes before you know what I'm asking.
Okay, what's the deal?
You tell me a subject that you like in school. I ask you a question. You get the question right, you get a piece of glass. Does that sound fair? Okay, who wants to go first? And then tell him, get the rules of the States. No, 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 no. Tell me which subject you like. You want to think about it for a little while? So everything that we make has to be cooled slowly. So we're going to take the vase off the metal rod and place it in our annealing oven where it'll be cooled slowly overnight. We'll melt a little spot where we broke it off so it's not sharp. Yes. 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 We touch it with something that's room temperature. At that point, we can crack it. Those are called the annealing ovens. They're for cooling the glass down slowly. So it won't crack. I'll get you one in a minute. Reading? Okay, and what grade are you in? First grade? Okay. Can you name me 2 books and the names of the people that wrote the book? Think about it. Yeah, she'll get it. What she's thinking about it. What subject do you like? Art, history, spelling, French, science. It's only for this one question, so I'm not holding it to you forever. So over on the right, Sarah's starting the bubble for the next vase. She's dipped her pipe in molten glass, hot molten glass. She's going to blow a little air into that steel pipe, close it up with her thumb, and the heat from the glass itself will expand the air and blow out the first bubble. We call this capping. Here she goes. Just one little puff, close it with her thumb, and magically a little bubble pops out. And that's the way we start every hollow object that we make. It's not that big a deal. How about spelling? Does that sound? No? Not spelling? Do you guys have any questions? We just blow it up bigger and use more glass. What? We're just starting out. We got to dip it in. We got to. We got to dip it in a couple of times. Each time we dip it in, only a certain amount of glass sticks to it. So we dip it in, blow a little bubble up, let it harden, dip it in again. When we get enough glass, then we blow the whole thing up like a balloon. So I think we're going to. So Sarah is letting her glass cool off and stiffen. And then we're going to coat it once more with a layer of clear molten glass. Each time we dip it into our big tank of molten glass and coat it, it's called taking a gather, Gather. Designs are usually different colored pieces of glass melted together. Well, for this one, we coated it with powdered blue glass, and then we pressed it into this mold here, called the pineapple mold, and it compressed the colored glass into the diamond design. Well, then we just when we do it like this, the bubble is small and thick. Then we blow it up and make it the shape we want it. It's just we just use this to get that diamond pattern. No, it has no water in it. It's made out of wood. We store it in water so that the wood itself is damp, but we don't scoop up any water in it. It's just, we just make the wood wet so the wood doesn't burn. Well, you can really only color the glass itself when you first cook it up from scratch. It's like making a cake, chocolate cake. You get all the ingredients and then you bake them. What we do here is we buy colored glass in various forms and then we melt it onto our glass. So the glass is already colored when we melt it on. So for these, we buy colored glass in the form of these bars. We blow a little bubble of clear glass, cut off a chunk of colored glass, and then we melt a layer of colored glass over the clear glass. So what it happens is the object looks colored, but if you cut through it, you'd see that it's just that one skinny layer color. Okay, yeah, all glass when it's that hot looks orange. It could be green or purple or blue. Yes, but when you think about it, if you have an electric stove in your house, the burners are gray. When you turn them on to cook something, they get hot, they glow orange for a little while. Turn them off, they cool down, they go back to being gray. So glass is the same way. So whatever color it is at room temperature, you get it hot enough, it glows orange for a little while, and it cools down, goes back to its original color. Yeah, so the glass only stays soft for a little while. So it's like, think of it like wax. When you get wax hot, it gets soft, but it only stays soft for a little while and starts to get stiff again. So you heat it up, do whatever shaping you can. When it starts to get stiff, you go back to the glory hole, the round furnace, and heat it up again. He pretty much knows what he wants now. We've been making this, working on this design all day. Yeah, it's all kind of, it's a vase with a sort of a teardroppy body and a little flare at the top, and then lines that go kind of like this and like this. We haven't put the lines on yet. Yeah, for, I don't know, 5 minutes away from that. So we're going to do what's called a cane pickup. We've made rods of colored glass. We're going to use them as stripes. We're going to melt the rods of colored glass onto that bubble there. Jay? If you look up on the big screen, we have a little drawing. Shows you what we're going to do next. It's called a cane pickup. We're going to we lay out our pattern of stripes on a plate, and we're going to roll those onto the bubble that Ben has. Sarah's got the stripes in the center. Ben, in the light blue shirt on the right, has the bubble. And when we roll something on there like that, stripes, it's called a cane pickup. Thank you. So hot glass sticks to hot glass. We've heated up the stripes, the canes. Now we'll heat that up, melt it in, and each one of those individual colored rods will become a stripe. You guys have any questions? You guys have any questions? Okay. What's the temperature of what? Glory hole, 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit. 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit. Celsius would be about 1250. There you go. You only have to know a few numbers. The round ones, which the big one that says number 4, the round ones with the doors open are called glory holes, and those have no glass in them. They're just a big brick barrel with a gas burner in the side. They're just for heating and softening the glass shape while we work on it. The ones with the doors closed, those are the glass furnaces. Those actually have tanks of molten glass in them. I think it's a little bit low, but the furnace is about the same temperature as that volcano that's going off in Hawaii. So Ben is taking a pair of shears and snipping those lines. So the lines will come together and have a sort of little U-shaped pattern, each place where he snips it. What? Yeah, the kilns are natural gas fired. Do you have a question, ma'am? No. Well, I mean, all glass, when it's this hot, looks orange, whether it's red or blue or pink or purple. You really only see the true color glass when it cools down to room temperature. What? Yes. Generally, blues are made with cobalt, chromium makes green, a little bit of gold makes pink, uranium makes yellow green. Uranium. See, I have a piece of uranium here. That's uranium glass. Copper, if you cook it one way, it turns turquoise. If you cook it a different way, it turns blood red. Now we're going to blow it up a little bit. Sayuri, the woman in the dark blue shirt. Oh. She'll be the person that's blowing, while Ben in the light blue shirt shapes it. Ben squeezing the glass, making a sharp crease in it. That crease will be the place where you can break the glass away from the metal pipe. When we're ready to remove it, we'll drip a little water into that crease. That'll crack the glass right there, and then we tap on the pipe, off it'll come. So the tool that he's using, those tongs, those are called jacks, and making that crease is called jacking it down. So when we swing the glass like that, the glass is soft and will stretch under its own weight. So you're making that bubble a little bit longer. So Sayuri is blowing in the dark blue shirt. She's blowing, inflating the glass as Ben, with the light blue shirt, shapes it. Just want to give everybody the heads up. It's 4:30. Museum closes at 5. We'll blow straight through till 5. But if there's anything else that you want to do while you're here, you want to look at the exhibits, you want to go to the gift shop, anything like that, now would be a good time to think about it because we're here for another half hour. But, you know, you're welcome to stay. I'm not just letting you know. I'm going to make this shape a little bit flatter, I think. He's got the cork pads in his hand. He's going to give it a little squeeze. We'll give it a kind of oval cross section. You guys have any questions? Yep, we're gonna stick another pipe on the bottom, and then we'll break it off this pipe, then we'll shape the opposite side. Happens. What do you mean? Being a tour guide? On and off 10 years, maybe. Yep. Nope. That's my business. That's my vocation. This is my hobby. What? I never use it. We're about to transfer the vase from the rod it's originally formed on to the punty. Sarah, in the gray shirt on the right side, is preparing the punty. She's coated the end of that steel rod with a little bit of molten glass. That'll make it sticky. We'll stick the punty on the bottom and break the glass away from the original pipe. Oh, well, with Sarah has 18 years, Ben 25. He started when he was a teenager, yeah. He He's starting 14. Don't let their casual dress and youthful good looks fool you. These are professionals. So we'll drip water where we want the glass to break off those tweezers. We'll tap, and off it comes. So now the vase is held from the bottom, top is exposed, the top can now be heated and shaped. Any questions? So we're heating up the front end. We can adjust how much of the glass gets hot by how far we stick it into that oven. He's backed out a little bit, so you'll see when he comes out, the very top of the vase will be kind of orange and glowing, the back will not. He's made a little flange. He's going to use that to stretch the glass out a little bit, I think. So we're almost done. Sayuri in the green jacket's putting on some Kevlar gloves. She's going to carry the finished vase to our annealing oven. When she grabs that vase, it'll be about 1,000 degrees. At that temperature, the glass will be hard. And we'll put it in our oven and cool it slowly, slowly overnight. That concludes our demonstrations for this afternoon. Thanks everybody for coming.